Hi, everybody.
Hey, guys.
I see Carolina, Jennifer, George, Alejandra, Andrea, Maria Len, Rachel, Robert, Susan, Veronica. Hello, everybody. Let us know if you can hear us okay.
Yeah.
On the chat box somewhere. I don't know where to put it.
Awesome. We have a few more people joining.
Cool. We'll wait for a few minutes as people start to trickle in for the webinar. But my name's Priscilla. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Planoly. This is part of our monthly series of webinars that we do. I think it's been a month since we haven't done it, but yeah, no, we're really excited to have you all here and learn a little bit about optimizing your traffic to your website using Pinterest.
Yeah, we're super excited to chat with you guys today. And I am Adriana. I'm Product Marketing Lead for Planoly. So we're really looking forward to diving into today's topic with you.
Yeah. And sorry, I have to clear my throat. But if you guys have any questions so far, make sure you drop them into the Q&A box at the bottom below. They sometimes get a little jumbled around in the chat. So just make sure so we can see them after the webinar runs that we put them in the Q&A. So we can answer your questions there. I see Jennifer has her hand raised, but I'm not sure if she has a question. If you have a question, just put them in the Q&A or let us know in the chat. Okay, so we'll wait one more minute. Oh, Mexico City. I love Mexico City. And thanks for joining us. I don't know what time it is over there. I think we're probably on the same time zone. It's 12:30 over here. Oh, okay, great. Cool. Yeah, we have people from South Africa. If you guys can tell us where you're from, we're in Austin, Texas. Houston, hello.
Hi.
Cool. Denver, San Antonio. Oh, hello, neighbor.
Awesome. Denver must be cold. And Wales, so cool.
Oh my goodness. Warsaw, Finland.
Wow, this is
amazing. Well, I know that it's different times everywhere, so we really appreciate you taking the time to join us, whatever time zone you guys are in. I'm sure you're taking some time out of your day to learn a little bit. So with that said, we'll just go ahead and dive in. So just a preface, we'll go ahead and put on the webinar video. We'll let it run for about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back for questions. Make sure that you drop in your Q&A questions right under the bar below, so that way we can easily access them and make sure that we answer all of your questions. So let me just switch over. We'll be muted for a second, but then once the webinar is done, then we'll just hop back on. So give me 1 second as I switch over.
Hey guys, Adriana here, and I am Product Marketing Lead for Planoly. Today we are going to talk about Pinterest and how you can utilize evergreen content to make the most of your traffic and pins on the platform. We're also going to talk about why Pinterest is such a great platform to drive traffic back to your website and how it surpasses all other social channels. First things first, we all need to shift our mindset about Pinterest. It's not just a social channel or a search engine. Pinterest is so much more than that. It's a discovery tool that allows us to find ideas and inspiration that we can apply to our everyday lives. People come to Pinterest to find ways in which they can do things, create projects, and elevate their everyday lives. Think about the content that serves that purpose and strategize your content around that to adhere to your Pinterest followers. Although Pinterest is more niche and not as big as Instagram, the audience is much more engaged and tapped in than other digital platforms. So when you're thinking about Pinterest, you want to think in a different mindset that you would on Instagram. For example, Instagram is all about people scrolling through the feed and taking time to really look at the post and reading that specific post from an influencer or brand, engaging more with that post. But Pinterest is all about visuals and getting people off of the platform by giving them great ideas that they can take into their lives. So when you're thinking Pinterest content, you want to provide your followers with a lot of great things that they can take throughout the day and use as inspiration. Now let's talk a little bit about numbers and the magic behind Pinterest. With 322 million monthly users, Pinterest is 80% more viral and 3 times more effective at generating leads than Twitter. 84% of users use Pinterest when they're trying to decide what to buy. So this is great for a lot of brands that are on Pinterest trying to get their product face forward with their users and followers. 98% of users have tried something new that they found on Pinterest. I, for one, am constantly on Pinterest trying to get inspiration for recipes or cocktails or style ideas for my blog. And I'm always sharing ideas with my mom and my husband on what we can make at home or how we can elevate our everyday lives. 77% of people have found a new brand or a product via Pinterest. Again, to touch on brands that are on Pinterest, they're always sharing great new releases, sales, and products that they have that are recent. And it's a great way to find out what they're currently offering and how you can utilize their platform even more. Now let's talk a little bit about linking your Pinterest account to your pin planner. It's super easy and there's only a few simple steps. So first you're going to start by going to your Planoly dashboard just as you normally would. You'll click on the top left-hand corner for your account, and then you'll see a plus sign with a P beside it for Pinterest. Here, you'll click on that, and then it'll ask you to log into your Pinterest account and give Planoly access to your account so we can link your pin planner and Pinterest combined. Once you've linked your pin planner account, then you're ready to start scheduling all of your pins for Pinterest, making it much more easier for you to plan content throughout the weeks and months ahead. Pinterest is all about working smarter, not working harder. You've already created amazing content, and we want to talk to you about ways that you can share that on the platform through Evergreen Content. First, what is Evergreen Content? Evergreen Content are posts or content that you've created that spans a length of time. You can keep repurposing this content and using it months and years ahead and share it with your followers because it's still relevant today. Evergreen content is the most valuable content in your arsenal that doesn't have an expiration date. It's the content that can continue to be shared and will still be relevant to your audience, whether it's old or new. Evergreen content can still be shared beyond the original date of publication, and if it's shared by one person with a large following long after you've posted it, you will still see a big spike in your traffic on your website. Evergreen content is also really, really great for SEO, especially if you have certain keywords tied in and the title of your piece is there and forward to your audience. The more traffic that you drive, the higher it ranks in search engines, which allows you to continue the loop driving content back to your website. I'd recommend going into your Google Analytics and checking to see which blog posts or website content has performed really great over time, and maybe going back into them and updating it or giving a little refresh, like updating your imagery, updating your copy, and just making sure that it still stands the test of time with your readers and your followers, so that every time it's getting clicks, you're still giving them that great information. A few other great examples for evergreen content are lists, which are a good way to grow your audience and traffic through pins. Instructionals, so for example, how not to kill your houseplants, or specific recipes or DIYs. And then also infographics, which give your users and your followers a really great little snapshot of how to do different things step by step. So now we're going to talk about why evergreen content is valuable for Pinterest. Pins are able to have a long lifespan beyond Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which makes it prime real estate for your evergreen content. Pinterest does not have a chronological feed, so you can create multiple pins for your content using different imagery or keywords to test which pins can drive more traffic back to your website. If your pin is shared on a board from a follower who has a really large audience, you can be seeing a lot of traffic from that pin, even if their followers don't follow you. It's about clicks to content that's actually valuable, not following. One other thing to note with evergreen content is that you can always maximize your content by resharing that evergreen content. So if you have different images within a really great blog post that received a lot of traffic through Google Analytics, you can share different images from that blog post on Pinterest to get even more traffic back to your website. Now, a few best practices for evergreen pins. First, let's talk about crafting your imagery and what it needs to succeed on Pinterest. When possible, craft your pins to be on portrait mode and crafted for viewing on mobile. Capture your audience on their smart feeds with captivating images, color palettes, and a quick and clear hook that teases the outcome of what they're about to read. And for those that don't know what smart feeds are, it's what you see when you first log into your Pinterest account. It's everything that Pinterest is pulling for you that they feel like you might really like to see more of, or the content that they feel you'll want to engage more with. So our good example here of imagery that really captures the audience and shows what the pin is all about is this one, this interview, and the title is clear right there. And it also is more of a long form, so it gives you a clear view as to what it's about and pulls this quick little snapshot for you. Now let's talk about titles and descriptions. There's a lot to know, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. For search, make sure your pin titles and descriptions are tailored for your success, just as you would craft them for Google search. So think about keywords or phrases that people are searching for on Google and try implementing those within your pin titles and pin descriptions. You can use 2 to 3 keywords that really stand out and are written for that audience and that specific content that you're sharing. So ask yourself, what would someone be searching for on Google? If, for example, they're looking for a specific recipe for cocktails for the holiday season, they might type in holiday cocktail recipes or seasonal cocktail drinks. So you want to have that same mindset whenever you're creating pin descriptions and pin titles for Pinterest, because essentially everything that you're titling for your pin will also be something that could potentially be within that search bar at the top of Pinterest. Try typing in similar keywords within the Pinterest search bar to get an idea of what people are searching for on Pinterest and how you can tailor those keywords to your pin titles and your pin descriptions. No time for story time here. Make your pin descriptions short and concise with enough to leave up for curiosity so your audience can click to learn more. So just like we talked about Instagram earlier, Instagram descriptions and captions are very different to Pinterest descriptions. On Instagram, you're trying to tell a visual story for your audience and you're trying to pull them in engagement through that caption. But on Pinterest, it's all about quick, digestible little bites and descriptions that you can pack with really great keywords to share with your audience to draw them in even more. Now let's talk about a few things to also include within that description, and we'll elaborate a little bit more on how many to include. You'll want to include 2 to 3 keywords within your pin description, 4 hashtags max, along with a call to action. And when you're creating your hashtags, you want them to be tailored specifically to that type of content. So for example, if you're sharing a post on social media marketing, you want that to be within the hashtag. You don't just want it to be something simple like social media or marketing, because that could get lost within the search bar on Pinterest. Your hashtags have to be very specific to the content that you're creating, just like your keywords. try not to use the same Instagram hashtag strategy as you would for Pinterest. So, for example, on Instagram, you might be using several different hashtags within a certain post just so you can try to pull as many people into that post as you can and gather people from your audience and your followers to see that specific post. So, if you're sharing a style post, you might say something like OOTD on the hashtag, or style blogger, or something that isn't super specific but does drive traffic. But on Pinterest, you would be getting a lot more specific with your hashtags because you can only use about 2 to 4 really great ones. So you want to pick up on what that pin is actually about. So for style, you could do something like holiday outfits. If it's a food post, you can do something more specific like seasonal cocktail recipes. Or if it's a marketing post that you're wanting to share, you can do something like marketing best tips. Pro tip, continue testing your evergreen content with different images for your pins and still use the same description. So for example, try pulling different imagery for a specific blog post or content on your website to see what resonates the most with your audience. You can pin something that has a person within the image, and you can also pin something that has a person not in the image to see which ones your audience gravitate towards the most. So we hope all of this helps you get started on Pin Planner and maximizing your evergreen content on Pinterest. Now let's switch over to Q&A so I can answer any questions that you guys might have from today's webinar. Let's move to the Q&A box.
All right. Hi, everybody. We'll go ahead and dive into Q&A. And Susan, I saw that you just added a question to chat, but if you can add it to the Q&A box, just want to make sure that all questions go into the Q&A box so we can answer as we go. So Adriana, I'll let you answer these. George asks, can you, sorry. Okay. Thinking quick overview on Planoly when you resend this training. So we do Planoly, I'll answer this one, Adriana, sorry, really quick. But we do Planoly 101 webinars. We're starting to bring them in next month. So you can actually go to our YouTube, go to youtube.com/Planoly, and you can see all of our tutorials on there. But we will start doing Planoly 101 webinars where we go more in depth into the app and on desktop. And just kind of see the whole entire service front to back. And we can answer any of your questions there, but definitely recommend going to the Planoly blog, going to the YouTube channel where most of our training is on. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. And we will be resending this webinar tomorrow. So make sure you check your inboxes tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. So McKenna asks, how can we use Pinterest for lead generation? What's the go-to strategy? Some unique ideas. Adriana, I'll let you answer that one.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So whenever you're trying to identify potential customers for your brand's product, it's always great to really focus on a few key things with Pinterest. And like we mentioned on the webinar, one of those key things is your description. So you want to be really wise with what you're sharing in that description and the types of hashtags and keywords you're including. Hashtags are always great also to draw in potential customers. And then another way that you can do this is through a discoverable board on Pinterest, things that highlight your products or specific features, and that will also draw users in.
Cool. All right. Next question. What is the best way to discover the most pinned pins for different niches?
So with that, I would recommend, if it's a specific niche that you're looking for, to really utilize the search bar on Pinterest and to type in those keywords that we mentioned before. So if you're looking for photography, but you want to get more specific and you're looking for wedding photography, but you want someone that's in Nashville, then go into Pinterest, and you can play with this right now on your app or if you're on the web, and type in Nashville wedding photography, and it'll pop up a lot of different options for you of Nashville-based like photographers and websites. So that's the best way to discover those niche like industries and pins.
Yeah, and the one thing with the search bar is that as you type in a certain keyword, it's almost like the Google auto complete, where you can see the suggested related keywords are all keywords that are related to what you're looking for. So that's a great way to really understand what other people are using in terms of keywords when they're looking up for search, or what they're tagging onto their posts, to really understand what is being tagged in your niche. And then of course, like what comes to the top is like the most popular pins related to that niche. So use a search bar the best way you can.
Yeah.
So Veronica asks, so evergreen pins have no expiry date, but is there any recommendation on how often you should create a new pin, like with Instagram, or no?
So Pinterest tries to focus a lot on creation over curation, which is their main thing, especially to get your profile face forward to other audiences and potential followers. And the more that you're creating on Pinterest and the more pins that you're sharing, the more you'll become discoverable on the platform. So it's just about being more active and sharing more content, and that gets you higher on the search feed and the smart feed.
Yeah, and I wouldn't take the same approach for Pinterest as you would for Instagram. They're very different, complete platforms. And like Adriana had mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, Pinterest is essentially like a search engine. It's a tool to be for discovery, and Instagram is more, content that we post in that Instagram, but it's very different. With certain things that work for Pinterest don't work for Instagram, and vice versa. And I really want to emphasize that you shouldn't use, or there's not a one size fits all kind of strategy for all social platforms. So you have to make sure that if you do evergreen pins on Pinterest, and you want to resurface evergreen content on Instagram, you have to take a different approach to it. So for example, if you're posting something from like 6 months ago and putting it back on your feed, it's not like it's going to be discovered 6 months down the road. Its lifetime is very short. So with Pinterest, it can go on beyond, even within the month. So make sure that you're keeping those timelines in mind, and how Instagram and Pinterest can serve back to your content. So cool. All right, Andrea asks, how can we determine the best hours to publish our content on Pinterest? Do Planoly for Pinterest offer stats so we can kind of A/B test our content?
Yes, we definitely offer stats. As far as posting on Pinterest, there's no specific formula when it comes to posting, but it is a great rule of thumb to at least share 5 pins per day, whether you're doing that in the morning or in the evening, but the more you can share, the better. And then our Planoly Pin Planner also shows you a lot of different insights that you can utilize when you're A/B testing different content. So you can see your impressions, link clicks, saves, and then different insights and close-ups on that specific pin. So you can see what your audience is gravitating to the most, and then how you can cater your content to them.
Yeah, cool. All right. Susan asks, so hashtags are permitted on pin descriptions, and 4 is the maximum allowed per pin?
Yes, so you can integrate hashtags into your pins, but you don't want to go over the 4 hashtag limit. I believe sometimes Pinterest can flag you also if you're not getting super specific with your hashtags. So you really want to use those keywords whenever you're sharing content. And that's how we mentioned previously. If it's a specific style post, you really want to get like specific with that type of post. If it's a holiday outfit or a winter outfit, integrate that into your hashtag.
Cool. All right. Robert asks, I do mostly affiliate marketing. What is the best way to market the links on Pinterest to generate sales?
So you can share all kinds of different things that are happening with your brand and the products. If you have any new sales going on or releases or products that are just launching. You can share different images on there and linking back to the website so you can get more additional traffic on that new release. And that's a great way to help boost traffic and generate sales.
And then on top of that, with our pin planner, you can plan absolutely everything on it. So you can make sure to add the links. It's actually a requirement when you're posting on pin, sharing on the pin planner and getting ready to schedule your pins, that you add a link to the pin that you're trying to drive traffic back to. So it's not that we're forcing you, but it is a requirement for us to drive somewhere when we are posting anything from the pin planner to your Pinterest. So if you are putting a product up as a pin, then make sure that you're putting your affiliate marketing pins on there, and make sure that you actually create a UTM, a specific link for it, so you can track how that link is performing coming from Pinterest and how much traffic you're driving from Pinterest. And you'll see that Pinterest will be probably one of your biggest traffic drivers depending on your niche. And if your niche is on Pinterest too, there's over beyond 300 million users on Pinterest, and there's a niche for everything. So I feel like people have this misconception that Pinterest is just for DIY and cooking, but it's far beyond that. There's so much to discover on Pinterest, and there's niches on every social platform. So you can definitely find your audience on there and generate a lot of sales.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Anonymous asks, hi, I work at a makeup company. Do you think it's better to link our pin to the company website or link the pin to the Instagram where almost all of our content comes from?
So I think you could do this two different ways. You can always mix it up and share that same image with both links, but a best practice is to link back to that specific where that image is located so that you don't get your followers confused, because anytime people are tapping on images on Pinterest, they're expecting to go to that specific link that it's linked to. So if they don't see the image pop up, they could get confused if it's for a specific product or something that you're linking back to. But it's always great to also link back to your product website, the main website. So if you want to pull different imagery from the website and then link to the website, you can do that, but then also link to separate posts on Instagram since you're sharing more on there.
Exactly. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Instagram will serve its own kind of purpose. And I think personally, I think that if you're driving from Pinterest to Instagram, that's another step that your audience will have to take to go to your site to buy your product. Mm-hmm. So you have to, whenever you do anything, you have to make sure that it's the least steps possible especially if you're trying to generate a sale. The more easy that you can make it, the better. And that's why Instagram has, Shopify integrated, and you can actually buy from, tapping on an image. If products are tagged on it, is just to ease that purchase process. So if you're sending them from Pinterest to Instagram to then your landing page, it's another step that maybe they're going to feel a little bit turned off about. So just direct them straight to your website, especially if I'm trying to see your product and I see a lipstick and I want to buy it or learn more about it, I'm going to want to go to your website. Yeah. So, All right, Carolina asked, do you recommend to publish for the very first time the content on all the platforms at the same time?
So I would, I don't know if you're asking for same content, but if you are, we're always trying to talk about sharing different content and images and things on different platforms so that you're not giving your followers the same content on all platforms, but you can share the same blog post or something on your website at the same time, but try pulling in different images for each platform since each audience is unique. So Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, all of your followers on all those platforms are different. So they might want to see different things.
Yes. All right. Susan asks, do filters still come with your solo account? I have a solo membership, but I don't see the filters come up when I edit my post within Planoly. Oh, That's interesting. I can answer that. If you are not seeing filters, you should, but if you're not, I would recommend emailing support@planoly.com so we can figure that out and try to look into your account and see if perhaps there's something up with your account and we can get those filters set for you.
Yeah.
And McKenna asks, will Planoly ever expand beyond Instagram and Pinterest?
That's a great question. Stay tuned.
Yeah, well, as of now, we even have auto posts for Facebook if you are posting for Instagram. So whatever you post to Instagram, you can actually auto post the same content to Facebook if you'd like, to your page if you're a business account. So we do offer that. But in terms of expanding, maybe, I'm not sure. Like Adriana said, stay tuned. But if anything does come up, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so right on 30 minutes, great. But thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. I hope that this was insightful and informative. We will be putting the recap up tomorrow you'll get an email from Zoom, and then we'll also be doing a recap on the blog. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. But Adriana, do you have any last mentions?
Yeah, no, thank you guys for tuning in. We hope this webinar was helpful for you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us.
Cool. And make sure to follow us at Planoly on Instagram. Make sure to follow us on Pinterest at Planoly. And if any questions you might have, just go ahead and email support@planoly.com. And make sure to take advantage of the Black Friday sale this weekend.
Yes.
If you know anybody who wants to hop on the Planoly train, let them know about our code BLK Friday 30 for 30% off any annual plans.
Yeah.
Great. With that said, we'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you next month for our next webinar right before the holidays. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.